Book on the crossover, gets inside and hammers it down. Suns, Booker for the win. Yes! Booker, this is for the win.
Oh, hey, everybody. Welcome to the Valley Podcast. I guess. Coach.
Man, you know everybody's blaming you right now, don't you? They were on Twitter. Everybody's blaming you. We're going to have that one mystery loss in there. Or is type F if you blame Gabe for the loss. Type F in the chat.
Does this count as a mystery loss, Coach?
Considering Pirtle's out, DeRozan's out, Patty Mills out, yeah.
Listen, I want to say to everybody in the chat, we appreciate you guys so much. Like, you know, we're here because of you. Okay, this is not fun to get on and talk Suns after an L to a team that you're supposed to beat, and then they sit everyone and they blow the doors off of you. So, man, I appreciate you guys. Roy, Iverson, Bo, Michael, King, my girl Katie, Elixity, Mac, man, Iverson, Charles. Thank you guys. So, Suns played a basketball game tonight, and it didn't go well. Coach, what happened tonight as you work that new handlebar mustache?
Yeah. Oh yeah, might as well try. I had nothing else to do during the game, so I'm just doing this the whole game.
Press H in the chat. H in the chat if you like his handlebar mustache. What happened tonight, Coach?
Man, it was just the perfect storm of can't buy a damn bucket. That's just what it felt like. It felt like all the rotations were off. They were hitting the right guys at the right time. Like, we were still making the plays, you know? That's the thing. It's like the shots were still there. That's what's crazy. It's not like they took us completely out of our rhythm and dominated us, you know? And I did see a few bright signs. I saw the guys, even when we would get 2 buckets in a row or something, or 3, the guys on the sideline are still getting up cheering. I saw a few pouted heads, but everybody was giving the right high fives and everything. And honestly, maybe this is the humble pie that they needed to eat before the biggest road trip of the year. Maybe this is what they needed to get off to a hot start on this.
I need some silver linings. I mean,
okay, so what happens when you get blown up on the court? You can't wait to go back on, right?
Right. And I agree. It really couldn't have happened at a better time right before we go on this 7-game road trip. But, Coach, I just really think that this team did not take the Spurs seriously, and they super didn't take them seriously. They thought they were just going to roll out of bed and get an easy clap W, and it just did not materialize at all. And the Spurs came out, and they're like, hey, us young bucks get to play tonight. I can't wait. And we get to do it versus the Suns. And they just
we just beat the best team in the league. And
they just kept hitting us in the mouth over and over and over. And we never decided to get up and fight back.
I think they're just looking ahead towards the road trip, man.
That's exactly what it was, Coach.
I really do. Not only just the games, but just the fact that tomorrow morning or early afternoon or whatever, you know, they got to go home and they got to pack now after having a nice cushy 5-game homestand, you know. They got to get back up and get back to it, and like, oh shit, it's against the Bucks. Oh shit, the Sixers, Boston, and then that Brooklyn game, and then the Knicks. Oh shit. Yeah, we got to do all this after tonight's game. Oh yeah, let's go play tonight's game. You know what I mean? It's just an afterthought, and every team did it. The Bucks lost to the Grizzlies today. So let's all relax there.
I'm agreeing with Mac. I'm agreeing with Mac in the chat like crazy. He says defensive effort was trash, weak switches, lazy rotations, barely fighting through screens. leaving him open nonstop. Up here at the top, he was saying, what was he saying up here? He was saying, well, he says F. He says,
I appreciate all the H's, you guys.
he says total lack of effort by the Suns, just pathetic. It was, man. Like they just didn't care tonight. They didn't care.
And you know what? They get one. We have 40 wins. We're 40-16. I'm like, it sucks, but I understand the timing of it. Now, if this was the first game of the homestand, I think we could have a little bit of a different spin turned on it. But we just got through the tougher teams, if you will, Miami or whatever. And yeah, I did see the Jalen Smith hit the backboard thing. That was crazy. But Sixers got an ass whooping last week to the Pelicans. They just happen, especially this year of all years. We're seeing that this year way more than past years where teams are beating up on the better teams. And like a pretty one-sided affair too. They're looking ahead. Defense wasn't there. Would you say this is the Suns team we know? We have enough evidence. Exactly. We have enough evidence to say that this is definitely a one-off.
Nobody on the Suns played good tonight. So we were talking about how like, the Spurs were doing this, they were doing that. Like we just weren't hitting our shots. Yeah, we really weren't hitting our shots. But you know who was? The Spurs for like a 7 or 8 minute spurt where it was like watching guys just sitting there, just shooting in an open gym, just knocking down threes. Boom, boom. This one can't possibly go in. Boom. That one can't go in. They've just hit 5 straight. Boom. Rudy Gay from the top of the boom. Just and then the Suns never picked themselves up. Dude. I still haven't picked myself up from Rudy Gay's threes, dude. Like that was an abomination, man. Javon Carter, good point. Javon Carter, Roy says that he was the one positive tonight. He looks like he's completely got his bubble game back. And yeah, Master Splinter looked okay, but he missed some layups that he shouldn't have. He made mistakes that he shouldn't have. Chris Paul smoking a layup. It was just that those guys missing those layups and Javon Carter missing that technical foul free throw. Perfect encapsulation of what tonight was.
Yeah.
Cam Johnson hit like 1-3. Yeah, Burner says, it's a bad day when Gabe hides his dome. You guys haven't seen it very much. I thought this was going to be a regular, thing on the podcast. It doesn't have to be. But this is my hoodie of shame. I can't even show you the Javon Carter. It's so smooth. It's so shiny. You wouldn't believe it. I just shaved it last night. It's glistening. Can't show it. But yeah, Booker. Let's talk about Booker because he's the only person
6 for 18.
Absolute Donovan Mitchell. So this makes me think of Salty. We got to shout out Salty. Everybody.
He's doing okay, by the way. He's home.
Perfectly okay.
They took away his left testicle. We thought it was going to be the whole thing, but it was just the left testy.
They took away his left testy and his penis, but they left him his right testicle. So he's pretty. he's happy, all things considered. But Salty's doing good. He's just laid up, resting. Cannot blame him. They went in through his groin. So to be specific, it was like like under the belly button. He told me. So it was a lot less terrifying than I thought it was going to be because he thought it was going to be like through his balls or something. Through the belly button area. He's good. He's feeling a lot better. But he's the one that always says that Donovan Mitchell and Booker are like two shades of the same coin, man. Like, and tonight he did a Donovan Mitchell impression.
100%.
It was hideous. I thought I was excited because he was so aggressive, but that quickly faded as I realized that he was only going to hit 1 out of every 4 shots or 1 out of every 5 shots.
It was 1 out of 3, but yeah.
I know. AZ Sun said needed some salty takes tonight. I know, man. Maybe he'll get in the chat. Maybe he'll text me. And he was going off. He was pretty upset. But yeah,
it is what it is, man. There's ain't nothing you can do about it now. They're looking on to their next opponent. and that's not going to happen in the playoffs. We're not going to play a subpar 500 team. I still don't think San Antonio is going to make it in. So it's just going to be different circumstances when it comes playoff time. They know what the schedule is going to be. You know, they know they got 2 games and 2 games, you know. They're not worried about going to play a 5-game road trip or anything like that. Anybody that we play is going to be in the West. So plane rides aren't going to be like going all the way to East Coast. And who do we play first? We play Milwaukee. We're not going to be going that far on a trip, I guess, unless we play Memphis potentially. But even then, man, it's just these losses happen, bro. I'm trying not to get too down on it because this team has shown otherwise all season. But Book, this is about 4 or 5 games in a row where he's not been his fairly accurate shooting self.
He's not his bookie self, is he?
That's what I'm worried about. So maybe getting on the road in front of some opposing crowds will do good. Sometimes that as Eddie Johnson says it all the time, that brings teams closer together, man. They're on the road, especially now during COVID. You only grow closer, especially after a salty loss like that. I can only imagine if they had to fly tonight, how quiet that plane would be. Everybody would be pissed. So let's see how they respond.
So,
we got a couple early games coming up next week.
Something that just dawned on me. The Spurs are on the second night of a back-to-back in which they lost by 1 point to the Trailblazers. You think that had anything to do with the way they played tonight, the urgency in which they played tonight?
I think it's what you said earlier is that all these other dudes, Pirtle and DeRozan, were out, and all these other dudes get a chance to put up shots. Devin Vassell gets to play 30 minutes, and you know what I mean? That's what you said from the beginning. Eubanks gets to go out and play 28 minutes. Rudy Gay gets to play 23 and not miss a damn 3-point. Well, he was 2 for 5. So it's a combination of everything, man. Lonnie Walker got to play 26 minutes. I mean, he shot a lot. He didn't make a lot, but he got to shoot a lot. It's that mindset of young dudes in the NBA that are still trying to go out and make their own name. Don't underrate these dudes because they don't play all the time. You know, they got families. They got people that look up to them. They got to go out and make something happen too. I mean, how many games has Devin Vassell played over 25 plus minutes and had this good of a game? It's probably pretty rare so far this season.
Oh, dude, I mean, Salty in the house says, boo the Suns. So, bro,
There's your take.
As far as Vassell goes and all of that, bro, they just had a hot night.
Yeah.
They were burning hot, and we were as cold as Popovich looks. He looks like a White Walker. Like dead ass, if Game of Thrones was still going, he would be one of the perfect head White Walkers, bro. We played ice cold like him, dude. What? It's just one of those games. Like I am ready to just like wash my hands and be done with it. But at the same time, you have to comment on how freaking terrible it was. I mean,
but it wasn't like it was 142 to 98 or something. Like it wasn't this huge, overwhelming, awful blowout like you would think it was when you're in the middle of it. They
felt like a blowout. We were down by 20 damn near the whole game.
It wasn't blowout, but we didn't give up 120 points or 115. And that's like, it's things like that still amazes me about this Suns team. Is as bad as it's been, as bad as that Clippers game was, as bad as it was, we only lost by 10. You know, as bad as the Magic game was, we lost by 1 with a chance for Book to win it at the end.
All right, you want some silver lining here that I'm thinking?
Yeah, sure. We're 40-16. I'm not blowing up right now.
I really want to get this whole Spurs rivalry back and going. You know, we got a lot of people in the chat here. We got about 40 people in here right now. A lot of you guys are young, might not have really been around for the whole Spurs era. The Spurs used to be like our varsity team, and we were their JV team, and they would just kick our asses all the time and keep us down, right? They were the bane of our existence. The whole reason for going and getting Shaq was to try to get bigger so that we could play more playoff style basketball, more half court sets. Am I wrong, Coach?
No, you're right.
So like I'm hoping that maybe a game like this can stir up some of that distaste and anger for the Spurs that I still have in my heart for the Spurs. I want these young guys, these young fans, the Kizzes of the worlds, if you will, to hate the Spurs the way that they should hate the Spurs, because the Spurs deserve to be hated.
And Iverson Vlogs doesn't know anything about that hate.
Grow up, Iverson.
Man, everybody is pissed in the chat. We got our asses handed to us by bench players. It happens to every team. It happens to every team during a regular year. These were games that the Suns won the last 10 years. These are the out of 19 wins. This would have been one of our wins. We go against the top team and we randomly get hot and think we're the shit and then lose our next 6. Like, this is the game that we would win. Come on, man. These are pros. This happens. Relax. This is not an overwhelming issue. This is one game of the 56 that we've played.
How many have we lost, Coach?
16.
16. You know how many of those are to sub 500 teams?
Probably.
11.
I was
11
probably
of our
of
16 wins, losses, have come to trash teams. No offense, Spurs. Trash.
Yeah,
Why?
So
I feel like I know why. Why do you think it is? Chat, why is it that 11 of our 16 losses have come to bottom feeders?
It's one of two things. I think just the mentality of knowing you're not going up against Kawhi or Giannis or whatever can play into it. And then some of it is circumstantial, like I think tonight is. A couple of them, like the Magic loss. This our last night. Band is back together for one more night. Let's go out there on a winning record, and they did, and they beat us and only won by 1 point. So I think some of it is circumstantial. Some of it is just the Suns being like, we're not going against a Kawhi or whatever superstar you want to throw in there.
I think it just comes down to we just don't get up for low-level teams. And I don't know why. I just don't understand why it's that hard. Like, if anything, these should be pat statting games. Like, if I'm Booker, for instance, I'm thinking, great. No DeMar? Great. I'm going to go out here. I'm going to get myself 50 points tonight. But no, like DA, let's talk about DA. This is the first game I'm disappointed in DA. I don't think he brought it tonight. I don't think anyone brought it, but I'm kind of disappointed in him because he didn't bring it at all tonight. What did you guys think in the chat? What do you guys think of DA tonight?
You remember that Oklahoma City loss against SGA earlier in the year? We just came off of the Denver back-to-back loss. And then we lost to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and we just couldn't do anything. Remember that? We ended up winning 9 out of our next 10. I was salty as shit after that loss. I was so upset. And we haven't lost back-to-back games since.
I would be very happy if this was the result, and I wouldn't be surprised. Especially because it's going grueling, grueling 7-game stretch on the road coming up. Considering it's that stretch, if this game gets us feeling like, oh, okay, we need to go back to the drawing board. Maybe we put Frank Kaminsky in a little bit. Maybe we use some height instead of going small ball.
He's not going to do that. He's not going to do that. Because he came out and said he's shoring up the lineup. Like, he's not going to do that. Everybody looked like the old DA tonight, Salty. The whole team looked like the old DA. It was awful. When Javon Carter is your leading scorer, something went wrong.
Wow. That should have been the title of the podcast. Javon Carter was the high scorer in the game, and that means something went wrong.
So everything went wrong. I mean, you heard it at the end of the telecast. We were 1 for 8 from free throws just in the fourth quarter alone. Like, there was a seal over that damn rim. Every layup just kept hitting on every side of the rim and then would bounce out. it just was what it was. It is what it is. We've got 7 huge games in front of us, and to worry about a random San Antonio loss before a huge road trip, I think it's a real disrespect to what this team has done for this valley and for us. That's what I think. I think bitching at them for not coming out and playing hard or whatever, like, that's fine. That happens to every damn team. And if you're upset over that, like, I get that. But
tell me if you guys are upset about this. Is it an upset? More than anything, I'm just shocked, bro. I'm shocked.
Why? You called it.
I didn't think it was going to be the Spurs. I said mystery loss, but that mystery would, in my opinion, that mystery was the Heat.
You called it though.
I thought then
you should have called the Heat loss. You said mystery. One of these 5 games, mystery. I think it's going to be the Heat, but it's going to be a mystery team.
I mean, that's essentially what I said. But yeah, I thought we had cleared all the hurdles, and I bet you the Suns felt that way too. They're like, okay. Yeah. We've cleared all the troublesome teams. In come the Spurs. Oh, you're not playing your best players? Terrific. Lays egg. So yeah, we are getting people in the chat saying fuck the Spurs. Appreciate that. Burner hates the Spurs, so this just irks me. That's the other part, Coach. It's shocking, and it's the Spurs.
I just don't. It's been 10 years since we've been good. I just don't feel like I have a rivalry with any of those teams now. I almost feel like I've moved on past that.
It feels like losing. It feels like losing a fight to somebody that stole your girlfriend in the past. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's a lot of like animosity between the two teams. Yeah. And so to go out and take an L to that person, like, I cannot wait. I'm going to be personally at the Spurs next upcoming games versus the Suns. Both of those games, I'm driving down to San Antonio, and we're going to take the podcast on the road. But guys, we've got Charles's game sounds like he's been dumped too many times. Oh, brother.
He's been a Suns fan for too long.
So we've got a live real Spurs fan, the Spurs fan, Gary. Oh man, he's got his name wrong. I gotta fix his name before he pops in. We're gonna bring Spurs fan Gary on. You know, what do you think we're gonna hear from him, man?
He's actually been kind of a Suns supporter for most of the season, so I think he's gonna be pissed because he probably lost money tonight on the game to them. But I think he's also gonna say the same. This is more of a one-off than anything. He knows his shit. He knows his basketball. So
he does, and he's always known that I've been a Suns fan.
Babe, before he gets on though, you need to make sure that if he starts going wild on any 2001-2 Spurs teams beating the Suns, you need to throw the button on him real quick.
I got buttons ready for him.
We don't tolerate that shit around here, Gary.
All right, guys, everybody, welcome in Spurs fan Gary from his blurry basement.
Spurs fan Gary, what's going on, man?
What's going on, fellas?
Well, no, you're not.
No, we hear you.
You do look like you're trying to hide your identity.
And then he froze. Yeah.
We'll see if you can restart it and get it going, man. Yeah, everybody in the chat is hating the Spurs.
He lagging.
Yeah. Maybe take your camera off.
I like Lonnie Walker though. That's the one player I've consistently liked the last year or two from them.
Yeah, can you hear us?
This good.
Yeah, man.
This is good.
How you doing? Did you lose some money on the Suns today? Or did you bet the Spurs to win by 20+?
This is good.
I gotta remove him. I'll text him. It's just the whole time. Is this good? Oh man, F him. No,
that's karma for Spurs.
Seriously, that was basically how the whole game just went for the Suns.
You know, usually I'm the one with technical difficulties after a loss. I mean, how pissed off are you now about the loss to the T-Wolves a few weeks back? and we only lost by 4 to them. But
Yeah, I mean, they had Cat and everybody.
Ant and Cat went for 40 plus. But they're still the worst team in the league.
That's a good question, chat. I mean, is this the worst loss of the season? Is this the number one worst loss of the season? I kind of honestly tend to think yes.
I'm looking through their losses right now. I think that Detroit one in overtime was probably still the worst loss. Or that very first Sacramento loss. Oh, that pissed me off.
I don't know, man. I think a night where we were going into this game regardless, like if DeRozan plays, if Pirtle plays, we're getting that win. Right? And they didn't play, and we still got smashed. How does it get any worse than that?
It can. It can get a lot worse, my friend. Can
you hear
a lot worse?
Can you hear Spurs fan Gary?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, somewhat.
Pretty bad.
Yeah,
I would
it's
restart.
pretty bad.
I would restart it and try to go out and come all the way back in. Oh man. So let's take a look at the schedule. And/or this. You want to take a look at the scores?
No, I got a question for you. There's been a lot of stuff going on Twitter about Suns wanting to avoid the Lakers, and maybe we shouldn't win. Maybe, the Jazz are starting to try to tank, and they lost today. But do you want the number 1 seed? Are you one of those fans where you want the number 1 seed? It is important, or are you all about getting the correct seeding, or what is your opinion? I mean, this year is so different considering all the injuries and COVID, and it's only 72 games. Where do you stand?
Let me get this straight. Are people really suggesting that the Lakers are going to be the 8th seed?
No, they're suggesting that they're going to be the 4th or 5th seed, and we'll have to play in the second round. So let's not get the first seed.
So don't get the first seed.
I guess that's the running theory right now, correct?
Because you'd have to see them in the second round?
Yes.
I'm really more concerned not seeing them in the first round. I don't want to be the 4 seed playing the 6 seed. Or how would that be? Sorry, the 7 seed. Was it 5 and 6? 8, I'm saying, like, I don't mind, dude. I want number 1. I want that 1 seed. I want home court advantage because, like we always talk about, you don't want to be going up against Utah in Utah and having to play those games above sea level where your lungs feel like they're dragging.
Yeah, I'm not worried about Utah, though. I mean, even if we play away, I'm really not. I think it's a benefit, obviously, if we get the higher seed, but I'm not worried about Utah just because I think they spent so much energy, their 8 or 9 guys, just getting off to that fast start and just keep on going. And now you're starting to see them, even before the Mitchell injury, just come back to earth a little bit, man. You were seeing it. They're tired. It's a grinding season, especially this year. It's a grinding season. So I just think that the Suns, and I tweeted it earlier, and I got quite a few replies and likes on it, that I would argue, I don't think resting our star players is the way to go. I think our team, more than any of the other teams, because they've actually played together for at least over a year, like the Clippers, they've been together for at least a little while, longer than us. I would argue that our team still needs to get chemistry together. They still need to get used to playing with each other, especially our second unit. So I don't think resting any of our players is a good sign at all for this team, because they need to get out and experience all of this, including tonight, together. And if that means winning more and getting the number 1 seed, there's nothing wrong with having home court advantage throughout the whole playoffs. That says something too. So the notion to rest players, so for seeding, I think is very farce and completely wrong. The notion of resting players so they don't get injured, like we've been seeing with all these stars, that's a different conversation. So G-Love, Spurs fan Gary's on now. Can you hear us?
Okay, is mine any better?
I mean, oh boy, pretty body and blurry. You still No, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. Let's see how it goes. So, what'd you think of
Nah,
tonight,
ain't
man?
much to look at anyways, dude. Don't worry about it. You don't need to see me. Ain't
All right,
missing
that's
nothing.
fine. But yeah, man, what'd you think of tonight?
So you got
Oh, he's laggy as all hell.
That's what you get for being a Spurs fan, you son of a
Oh
bitch.
man, that sucks. I wanted to hear from him tonight.
I know. Maybe he'll get it together later, but yeah.
Bummer.
I'm ready to move on, man. I just can't
So-
give
What do you think about my comment though about resting for seeding or us needing to still get familiar with each other?
There's only one person I'm willing to rest, and that's CP3. I say, as long as it's not hurting you to let CP3 get more time out of these games, like just playing him less. You know what I'm saying? Like just playing him less overall in games, not necessarily sitting him games. But
Yeah.
during the game, if Javon and Campaign seem to be taking care of things, yeah, just leave him out. Let him ride the bench as much as possible. Keep those minutes off of his legs because he is going to be everything the way Steve Nash was in the playoffs.
Yes.
You know? Just him, though. Other than that, pedal to the metal, going for the first seed, and just control what you can, man.
That I completely agree with. I just don't like the notion of fearing a team going into the second round of the playoffs because, dude, remember when we were going through all of our years as Suns fans when we were a 1, 2, or 3 seed? Dude, the second round of the playoffs every year was killer, dude. You know,
Yeah.
even in the East, the Nets are going to have to match up with Philly or they're going to have to match up with Milwaukee, you know? It's
So
going
they're
to be
talk-
hard no matter who you play.
They're talking Mikhail. Bridges Law. Can you believe it? I tweeted it. What
You
was it, like,
tweeted it.
the fourth shot of the game? Mikhail takes
Yeah.
a three. It looks awkward. It boinks out, and we lose. You know? I mean, when I said it and you liked it, there was kind of like a ha joking undertone to it, where it's like ha ha ha.
Well, we're still
Mikhail-
not losing to the Spurs.
Yeah, we're not losing to this Spurs team.
Silly
Ha, ha.
motherfucker. Well,
It's kind of a really good indicator of how well so he's playing terrible lately.
nope.
So is Crowder, in my opinion. I know Crowder does a lot to affect the game, but his shot isn't there. I'm understanding how he gets let go from teams. He's very valuable for teams, right? Like I can see how he was valuable for the Heat.
Yeah,
But
he shot like a
so
46%
inconsistent,
clip, though.
man.
Yeah,
He's
and
just
this is what you get from him. Yeah,
He's
he
just
had
this side of
26. He had 26 in the one game and didn't score in the second half.
yeah. It's all feast or famine with him. He wasn't there tonight. I feel like Cam couldn't shoot and couldn't play because of that stupid ass mask they put on him. I understand he has to use it, but why can't he get a cool LeBron looking mask? Like, you know,
I
that
couldn't
black.
even recognize him.
He looked terrible, and it looked like it was uncomfortable. You know, he couldn't shoot. You didn't get anything from Mikhail. You didn't get anything from Book. You didn't get anything from Ayton. Can we move on?
You keep bringing it up. I tried to. You keep bringing it up.
Oh man.
I don't even want to look at scores, man.
Well, too bad.
I'm detested.
Too bad, because here they come. This was your opportunity, coach, and you squandered it.
But did they do it on purpose?
Why would the Jazz?
Ooh.
Why would the Jazz sit everyone versus the Lakers? I don't get that.
I think they're buying into the notion that they don't want to play the Lakers in the second round.
That's nuts to me, dude. That's crazy.
I don't understand it. Like, if it was Michael Jordan, we can talk, but it's not. And we don't know the shape AD and LeBron are going to be in. And if they're as good as everybody says they are, we got to play them anyways. I would rather play them in the second round than the Western Conference Finals, because now they got 2 series under their belt, an additional 4 to 7 games together under their belt. You know, I'd rather get them early. Let's drop down to the 4 seed now. We'll play them in the first round. Let's go.
Shit. I mean, anything else here that helped us today?
Of course not.
Not really.
Everything went against us the last few days, and that's just the way it happens. When it rains, it pours. But all we can hope for is that, oh Jesus, the sun is going to shine again. But we got a big opportunity Monday. We come back on here Monday night after we beat the Bucks. Giannis can drop 38. Middleton will drop 28. Drew Holiday will go in for 22 and 12. But if we come in here with those stat lines and the Suns get another win, how are you going to feel then? Now it's going to be they just don't get up for bad teams. And we don't play bad teams in the playoffs, so it's fine.
Here it is, boys. Your mystery loss.
Everybody blames you.
Jeez. I just felt like that was how it was going to go down, man. I mean, I would have thought that Sacramento would have been more tricky. And Houston. It was Houston and Miami. I'm like, one of these two will sneak up and get us.
I thought it was Sacramento.
Or
And they look like they could have.
You're right. You're right. That was a trap game that we won. And so I thought we were above losing another trap game. It's a double trap.
It happens. It's a long-ass season. We're 40
No,
and
it's just the
16.
Spurs. If it was anyone else, I could cope. But
Look,
it's the Spurs,
man. Look,
I gotta
man.
be upset. You know.
They're looking forward to Milwaukee. That's what they want. They're looking forward to playing that game. Milwaukee was looking forward to playing us, and they lost to the Grizzlies. So,
All right, Coach. Let's get into this and chat, guys.
this is what it's all about.
Let's give Spurs fan Gary one last try. All right, you there?
He might be. It's looking
Can
good.
you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hey,
Any better?
there we go.
That's
Absolutely.
much
Switch
better.
computers.
There you go.
I switched computers, give it a shot.
All right.
It's perfect, man. What's going on? How much money did you lose on the Suns tonight?
I actually made money. There's a rule, degenerate gamblers know, of a 4.5 line. So the Spurs were getting 4.5 first quarter. I bet that. I didn't want to, but it's just one of those things. You just stick with it. The odds are super high on that. When it hit, I was like, there's no way I'm touching the rest of the game. I let it go. I thought for sure the Suns would come back and beat the Spurs by 20 plus, but I left it alone, luckily. So I don't know. I don't understand. I mean, it was all the stars lined up, so to speak, is the only explanation for that. I mean, there's no reason for you guys to give a damn about that game other than I get it. People are going to be upset, but it's not college football. You know what I mean? It's not like Alabama lost to Vanderbilt or something and it's going to have an effect somewhere down the road. It's literally a game that will have zero bearing come the end of the season. They're getting ready to go on a long road trip. I text Gabe when I got the alert that the 3 guys for the Spurs were going to be out. And I already thought Suns would win by 15-ish. And I'm like, this is going to be like a 30-point loss. But all the young guys, you know, we're hitting shots. That's really the only thing. That's the only difference.
Thank you. That's exactly what I said. When I say it, everybody wants to crowd on me, and then people are in the chat and you're like, yeah, Suns didn't want to play. It's like I need validation.
I mean, it happens across the board, man. I mean, what was it? The Rockets?
Gary Bernard says Gary trying to hide his smugness. Agree. Agree.
If I was
doing a terrible job of it.
If this was 5-6 years ago, Spurs, I'd be talking shit. But I would have been talking shit to you all season. But like, I know who the Spurs are. I have a pretty good idea who the Suns are. That's not. So okay. So ask your chat this: if this was, and this just happened to you guys, are you worried you're going to lose the?
Did he glitch?
You glitched just for a sec.
Oh, sorry. Ask your chat if this was the first round of the playoffs, we're whatever it would be for us to match up.
Sure.
And we beat you guys like this first game of a 7-game series. Is there one Suns fan? There's probably only 6 Spurs fans that think, oh, the Spurs are going to win it now. No, there isn't even a small sample size of fans that follow basketball that would think after this, if this was the first game of a series, oh, the Spurs got it now. I would expect the Suns to come back pissed off and run off 4 in a row.
I completely agree. And when I saw the schedule come out and we play you guys the last 2 games of the season, you guys were sitting at the 6th or 7th spot. You're just kind of, going up and down there. There was a legit chance that we could play you guys, and we still could play you guys in the first round. It's possible. I personally think you're going to dip out and New Orleans is going to jump there. But if we do play you guys, I think just us playing you the last 2 games of the season, when you're going to rest Chris Paul or rest Devin Booker, and considering where we played you guys in the schedule tonight before going on a road trip, I don't think any of these 3 games, the Suns and Spurs, are really going to be indicative of who these teams really are. That's just based on scheduling and how it's shaking out. I would not be surprised if Spurs bring out Ori against the Suns in the playoffs. Jesus Christ, burner.
Just to hip check Booker into the scores table and break his elbow.
Booker, Paul, Cam Johnson, all of them. Just leave him in.
Ayton stands up like, what happened? You're out of the game, Ayton. You're out of the NBA.
I just realized you got on a Nebraska hoodie. So you're both Nebraska fans, right?
Yeah, and he's a Spurs fan from Nebraska. How does that make sense?
You're a Suns fan from Nebraska.
I lived in Phoenix for a little while. I lived in Phoenix for a couple of years, 3 years. Best 3 years of my life.
But
that's funny.
For you guys, obviously you'd be upset about the loss. I mean, I would be too, but what does it really mean or what does it really do? Nothing.
Okay, but let me just explain this. Okay?
Didn't the Nets or the Sixers just lose to the Pelicans or something? And
yes, the Bucks just lost to the Grizz today.
It's about the history and the hate and the hatred. You guys don't really have to hate us. It's like for the longest time, it was like Thanos just looking down at the Avengers like, well, I'll just deal with you guys myself if I have to. And the Avengers just thinking of him as this huge threat, bro. Like the Spurs have always been the noose around our neck. Not lately, but they used to be. You guys were the noose. So what do you care? Like, we hate your effing guts. Hate them. I used to consider a successful season for the Suns because we were so bad. As long as we beat you guys, I was like, success. Let's go to the lottery. And we beat the Spurs. Like, that's how much.
But that's a loser mentality. That's like what we say. That's a losing mentality, man. That's what we say to Iowa fans when they can't rub it in enough when they beat Nebraska every year. And we're like, great, you should. Nebraska is the worst it has ever been. But what do you do after that? You don't win Big Ten championships. You don't go to major bowl games. You're never in the playoffs. Like you have become complacent with just beating a team that is way below average. That's what you guys were doing. Now you don't need to do that. We're the below average team. You guys are already in the playoffs. Every time, like I've talked to you or I listen to you guys and everything, you guys talk about different runs and how far you think you can go and everything else in the playoffs. Like the Spurs are – if the Spurs were the old Spurs, then I get where you're coming from. And you guys are what you are now. Like that's a problem. If you're like, oh shit, we still can't get over. If Nebraska started being good but still couldn't beat Wisconsin or Iowa, then it'd be a problem. But if Nebraska got good and all of a sudden looked like they might win the Big Ten and got beat by, I mean, it's different in college football because one loss will hurt your season. But I mean, it depends on what level both teams are on. Like the Spurs took a huge slide back, starting with Kawhi leaving, and you guys are on like a level that I don't really feel like you guys have been on since Amari and them were all together. So it's like, I don't know. I don't know why. I mean, if it was me in the years the Spurs were good, when we drop a game to you guys or the Clippers back then who were horrible or any of those teams, it was like, yeah, you kind of expect they're not getting up for a lot of these games. You worry about if they're going to beat the Lakers with Kobe and Shaq, or you worry about if they're going to beat, the Mavs when they were making little runs here and there.
Exactly.
I don't know why you got, but I was texting with Katie tonight about coming down for those games. I ain't no way in hell I'm going to those games now, dude. The Spurs are going to lose both of them games by 25 or more. After this game.
Come on.
We're gonna be resting
money.
We're gonna be resting our players right before. We might play the first game, but the second game we ain't playing them. They're all resting.
Yeah, we couldn't even beat Minnesota on a back-to-back.
Tyshawn Alexander. Yeah, Tyshawn Alexander's gonna start that game. I guarantee you.
Maybe that's a secret. Pop rest DeRozan and Mills and Jakob tonight. They won. Maybe you guys rest.
Other dudes go off.
Oh man, somebody on Twitter. I wish I could remember so I could give them the credit. It said that the Suns got distracted because the Spurs threw up a white flag, but they threw it in the Suns' face and then jacked him in the nose, and the Suns were all disoriented. Like that's what it really felt like tonight, man. They faked like they were throwing out the white flag, and then came out and went 100.
Yep.
100. Like they had a reason to win that game. So fuck them.
It happens. It happens. I'm not stressing over it. I wanted to win. I wanted to be the number 1 seed, blah, blah, blah. But man, again, if we beat the Bucks and Giannis drops 40, we're going to come back over here and be like, yeah, this team gets up for big games. And we're going to have a completely different mentality. And I completely agree with Gary saying having the loser's mentality. But at the flip side, I don't know if the Spurs know hate like the Suns know hate for the Spurs.
They don't, bro. They don't care. We're the little brother. Like, we've yet to prove anything. They have multiple championships.
Yeah, we don't even have a championship, so
we could never get past them. The one time we did get past them, we got bounced
but there's
by the Lakers.
Nobody remaining except for Popovich, and that was 10 years ago for him. There's nobody remaining on the sidelines of any player or anybody from that time period. Different jerseys, different fucking everything. Like nobody even knows about. Like Chris Paul played against the Spurs during that era. You know what I mean? But now he's on the Suns playing against this old ass Spurs team. I guess young ass Spurs team that has no effect of what they did. I mean, the league just changes so much that I don't think it's possible to have those rivalries anymore. Even with the players, man, the players are all buddy now, dude. They all know each other. I don't even think you can have a legitimate. Is there a legitimate NBA rivalry right now?
I hate the Lakers. I feel like they don't care about us though.
CP3 and LeBron are boys. There's never going to be that rivalry.
The Spurs hate the Lakers.
The team, but we're talking fans, man. Like when was what's an actual rivalry where they go at it and go at each other?
The problem is these players go play with each other from team to team. You don't have a lot of consistency where you have what usually creates and builds up a rivalry. You know what I mean?
No,
you
exactly.
For 2 or 3 seasons, and then the whole face or dynamic of teams change
so quickly. And they all play with each other on the USA teams, and they're all doing each other's camps and everything here and there. So many dudes are from the New York or LA area, and they go to each other's special event or whatever. Half these dudes used to play in the Drew League, and they practiced together. Like when Book was practicing a couple years ago with Joakim Noah and a couple of other dudes, and he was complaining about getting double teamed. Like these dudes just know each other, and they work out together. Oh, you're working out at this high school so-and-so in Houston? Cool, man. Me and Book and, who the fuck ever, Zion are going to roll through. Cool.
Yeah, I mean, you got to practice against your own level of competition, to stay sharp. Gary, Roy wants to know, what do you think about DeRozan? Is he gone after the season?
I think so. I'll be surprised if he stays. There's just the Spurs have some really good young talent. I don't think they have the veteran players, the caliber of veteran players they used to help bring them along at a little bit quicker pace to where it turns into, postseason runs and even titles or whatever. I think it's going to take a long time. I don't think DeRozan's going to stick around and wait for that. He said he's going to test free agency. There's going to be plenty of teams that want to add him in that are whoever wins this year, like just I don't know, throw out a team. Say the Clippers win this year. The Lakers are going to want him. The Bucks are going to do whatever. The Sixers might. I mean, all those teams that have hopes of winning a title that don't, you're going to have a lot of people trying to get him.
So you're saying he's going to the Nets?
I don't know where they're getting their money from, man. They must work with Congress or something. They can just print money and
they give money directly to Adam Silver, so he'll look the other way and be like, I don't know what you're talking about.
I heard the KGB funds that Russian owner. I don't know.
No, he sold. He sold out. He's not even there no more.
Hey, I got something for you, Gary. I saw a rumor today, and there was actually 2 or 3 different reports that the Spurs are going to go heavy and hard on Lauri Markkanen. Some of these ungrateful University of Arizona fans in the chat here will know that name very well, but are the Spurs going to be going after players like that, or are they all about development right now?
I have no idea. I was talking to my cousin was over here. We were watching the fights and the game going back and forth. And I haven't even started looking into any of like what they might be doing draft wise or making moves off season or whatever. But it has that feel that they went back to getting guys who are mainly defenders. And they're like, well, we'll either have a guy or two that's our go-to for offense, or as they develop offense, they develop offense. But like Johnson, Vassell, those guys are like defensive guys that they're trying to bring along and develop jumpers. And Johnson likes to drive and get to the cup. Vassell likes to shoot threes. But I mean, I feel it has a feel of that to me. I mean, Murray's a good defending point guard. Lonnie Walker's just an all-around athlete. But I mean, I don't know. It's hard to tell which way they're going. I really don't know how much longer Popovich is going to be around and whoever steps in, what they're going to do or what they're.
Well, apparently he's going to live forever.
Yeah.
Apparently he's going to live forever because he's a zombie now.
Oh.
Dude looks half dead. The wine is not treating him well.
He always looked half dead.
Yeah,
he
but
always looked a little creepy.
I said the wine's not treating him well. But with this white hair, bro, like this long white hair. Jeez. And stop bullying Burner about being from U of A.
It's his fault. He deserves it.
Yeah,
that's the only type of fan I'll say that to.
I would love Lauri with Ayton. That'd be the best combo. Oh, keep sleeping on him, bro. Keep sleeping on him.
I had another question I wanted to ask about the Spurs. Oh, so do you think the Spurs are getting to the point, though? You said you didn't know where they're going. Do you think the talent is good enough to start throwing some money to some of these guys? Because y'all have gone through like a redevelopment roster while still trying to be competitive. You haven't gone full tank. You haven't gone full out trying to win a championship. But do you think you have enough young guys where you can start dropping in a Markkanen, go pay somebody else, not DeRozan, but like a DeRozan type player to bring in? Do you think the surrounding guys are at that level, or do you think we still need some rookies that we need to blow it up? Your personal opinion.
I don't think they're at that level yet. I could see it getting there. The Spurs do pretty well developing guys and figuring out, like Tony Parker didn't have a jumper at all. And, you go all the way through.
Had a hell of a floater.
Yeah. He was more of a drive type guy or whatever. But I mean, they do a good job of developing guys. But like I said, when they really develop guys at a fast pace, they had Tim Duncan and Ginobili and Parker and guys like that have been around. It's a lot easier to come along. I don't know who on that roster now, if say DeRozan walks, who's their go-to guy? I mean, maybe Murray. I don't know. I mean, they're not. I don't see him ever putting Patty in the starting role, and he's getting.
He's
older,
old too.
Yeah, and Rudy Gay's old. I don't know if what the plans are with that. I don't know, man. I don't think you're gonna have like the Warriors did back when they blew it up and got Clay and Curry and all them, and they all developed pretty much at the same pace, and they went from being absolutely garbage to making the playoffs to making a little bit of a run to where all of a sudden they're winning titles. Like, I don't see that style. So without getting some type of a vet or 2 or 3, depending on the caliber of them, I don't know. I feel like we're kind of in no man's land. I felt like they were going to start blowing it up when they said that Aldridge, DeRozan, Mills, Gay were all on the trading block. Nobody obviously moved. They got rid of Aldridge and then now they said that DeRozan's going to be on the, on the free agent market or whatever. So I don't know, man. I don't know if they're just going to.
How many years till Pop retires?
I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if this is his last year. I wouldn't be surprised if he's around for 4 more years. I don't know.
Maybe that's why they were getting rid of everybody or trying to, because it's your last year. We got to do different roster. We're going to bring in whatever. So maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. Every time I think, oh, they're going to do this, or you can tell they're kind of doing this, they do something crazy that makes me think the opposite. So I don't know.
And y'all just keep on getting that 5, 6, 7, 8 seed consistently. I was amazed how bad of a roster you guys had and how good Pop could still coach a team to get to the 6, 7 seed. Amazing.
Got a hot question for you, Spurs fan Gary. From burner account. Ask Gary why Horry hip checked Steve and screwed the Suns.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I got a better question.
Why did he do it? Don't turn this shit around.
Why did Amari jump off the bench knowing you can't leave the bench if some shit happens?
And that's the time that we have from Gary, guys. He can't talk any longer than that.
He's about to start some fights up in here.
For real. Can you think of any other legitimate reason other than the Spurs were getting their asses eaten and they got emotional and did something that they had no idea was going to turn out to their benefit? Against all logic, it worked out to their benefit. But that seemed like, I'm mad that you've clearly beaten and bested us and there isn't shit we can do to you on the court. Clearly, we can't keep up with you. So I'm going to act out in violence and physically hurt you. Here goes. And then the NBA swoops in and says,
like game 4.
Congratulations. We're going to reward you. Like, they didn't know that was going to happen. Is that close? I
mean, that's how it played out. I don't think there was a thought of, I think it was a heat of the moment. Oh, I'm about to check this dude that's half my size out of, frustration, availability. It was there. I don't think he was sitting on the bench. Like, when I go back in, I'm knocking that bitch as far as I can. Hopefully he goes to the third row. Like, I don't think that was that premeditated. I think when the opportunity presented itself, he throws his hip in, checks him against the score table, and then everybody jumps up, which obviously they would jump up. You guys, everybody should be more mad at the NBA for that. Like, I understand there's rules, but there's also intent, and like scenarios are different. You know what I mean? Like, it's illegal to go over whatever the speed limit is, but if your wife's in labor and you're doing 20 over, you think they might go, oh, okay, whatever. I mean, that might be a bad analogy, but
my problem with that whole thing, and I said it here before, was when the scuffle started to shake down, when there was still just a handful of players and a couple coaches here or there, and they were, talking to the refs in front of the scorer tables and all that shit. During that whole time, Tim Duncan got his ass up off the bench, walked across the court and talked to the third referee, and then calmly walked his ass off. And the NBA came out and said, oh, that wasn't during the scuffle. That wasn't during that time. But there was clearly still high tempers. Guys were clearly yelling because you could see the veins popping out. And they were all, still talking about it, mostly on the Suns bench and those guys coming up and D'Antoni and whatnot. But that was my big problem, was it was still, tensions were still high, but now because it's Tim Duncan walking across calmly and doing it, he still left the bench area, but that's okay. That's where I got pissed off, because if Tim Duncan would have been out that next game, that would have changed everything too. But
I'd be mad, like if it was reversed. You know, I mean, if Amari would have,
if it happens to your team,
Tony Parker and the same thing. And like I think I don't remember, Gabe, if you and I were like watching that game together, or if we had watched a game, that series together, at least one, or if not more. You're muted.
I was there with you during that moment. I know that.
Yeah. And that's when, like, I mean, I wasn't like cheering or like, yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. That's good bet. Like, I'm not like pro what happened, but I mean,
Right.
it just, yeah, it sucks. I mean, it went down like that. It's, I don't know. I mean, it's different for sure. It's different, but it's kind of like when, what was his name? That got underneath Kawhi against Golden State when the Spurs and Kawhi were torching him.
Zaza Pacheep shot.
Yeah, a cheap shot. And it's like, yeah, that changed the whole end of the season, let alone that series, you know. But I don't know, man. It sucks, but I don't know. It's just, I mean, I think every single person agrees that officiating in the NBA is probably the worst of all the major sports. So it's
not even close.
That's another level where it goes like to the ruling, you know, where they, after the game, were able to look at things and decide, yeah, these guys are suspended. These guys are good. Like that's, I don't know. I don't know how that plays out or whatever. I'm not pro Robert Horry hip checking little Stevie Nash into the scores table by any means, but it's like
bitch move from a bitch organization. A bitch move from a organization ran by bitches.
Yeah.
That's all you can say about the Spurs, man.
With how many titles? I lost track. How many they got?
Yeah,
hit the button on him. Hit the button now. Hit the button on him.
Since Jordan has a gambling problem, all right, that's what 2 titles came during Jordan's issues. So I'll go ahead and scratch those off because you wouldn't have got
Spurs.
Those.
What are you talking about?
The Spurs didn't win then.
95, 96.
Those were the Rockets, homie.
Damn
it. Rockets went back to back.
Okay, but those 2 after, if Jordan stayed
during the lockout
Bulls,
season,
if Jordan stayed with the Bulls, they weren't getting that. Didn't they get the 99, 98, 99 ones that, or 99?
That was after the lockout season, and that was Krause pushing everybody out. That has nothing to do with. So
give those rings to Jordan.
When you
automatically go to Jordan, take those from the Spurs.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Get out of here.
Burner's right. I thought Gary was cool too, but he had to bring up the title, so he's canceled.
That was directed straightly at Gabe with all this bitch this, bitch that.
You know,
he speaks for all of us sometimes.
It's just hatred. It's hatred. I don't really hate the Mavericks, but I really hate. I mean, I just hate Luka. You know, but I really hate the Spurs, and I don't think that'll ever change.
Why do you hate Luka?
I just don't like the way he plays. I don't like his style.
That boy Luka.
I can't stand it. It's ugly basketball. You know, he's a very talented passer. I just feel like I don't like it when dudes are taking step backs that deep, that much, and missing as much as he does.
Roy just said throw Gary in the basement. Stick him down there with Geek.
No, I'm not drunk, Charles. It's just black coffee, bro. Still. But
so we're kind of winding down. It was a real bummer night for us. Good for the Spurs, I guess. I don't know. Feels like that they're trying to tank right now. So I don't know if that was good or bad for them overall. Yeah, it doesn't do anything for them. Except you keep your playoff hopes alive for another week or so. But we're worried about these next 5 games. We got to go on the road and we got to beat Giannis. And then we got to go and we got to beat Harden. We got to beat Embiid. Who else is in there? We got to beat Tatum and what's his name up there. And then we got to go and beat Julius Randle on the last game. Like the last game, if we lose a game, I think we're going to do really good on the road trip. It's going to be the last game because it's going to be your travel day and everything. And those are always, in baseball, you always talk about the getaway day. Some teams just want to pack it in on that Sunday and just travel away, which is exactly what happened to the Suns tonight. But I'm worried about the Bucks, man. So you bet on the Suns a lot. You've been on the podcast about 4 or 5 times now. Where do you see this matchup with the Suns and the Bucks coming up? How do you think this matchup's going to shake out? You think it's going to be in the Suns' favor? Yeah, we play Monday. We play the Bucks at Milwaukee, of course.
Yeah, if I was a Bucks fan, I'd be worried Like that's what I look at, like from a gambling perspective. When you got a team that loses a bad game, or you have a team that loses to a team that they're clearly way better than, you almost salivate waiting for that next game because they almost always come back.
But the Bucks lost to the Grizzlies.
Yeah, but I mean, the Grizzlies does anybody really think the Grizzlies are as bad as the Spurs, or that the Bucks are as good as the Suns? Like I don't think they are either one.
Ooh.
But I don't know. To me, the Bucks are nobody's going to shoot 40% every game, and to me, that's why they can't really go far in the playoffs, because they live and die by the three, and it's like they'll come out and look great, and then when teams do things to run them off the line, or they play, they kind of create mismatches for them, and they can't shoot the lights out from the 3-point line. What do you have? I mean, I don't know. Giannis, you just kind of do what you can to keep him out. He's not a threat from deep or mid range. I mean, he's developing that, but I don't know. Even if you put him at the line a lot, he's not going to kill you from there. So it's just kind of, I don't know. I think the Suns are very well rounded, especially now with the way Ayton's developed. Some of the younger guys getting a little bit more comfortable in the rotations and in their spots. I don't know. I just think that, especially after this loss, and you guys had a bunch of games pretty close together. You had a couple back-to-backs on that homestand. Yeah, so I mean, getting away from there and being on the road and kind of having this motivation and kind of, I would think mentally they're trying to get themselves built up and prepared for a grind ahead. I think that first game, I think they'll look good.
I think they're going to look good too. I'm looking at their roster right now. Honestly, Giannis can do what Giannis does. 0 for 3 from 3 tonight. Chris Middleton, was 5 for 13. Brook Lopez, 5 for 13. Drew Holiday, 5 for 11. Bryn Forbes was 7 for 13. It's guys like Bryn Forbes that can go off. I'm more worried about Jeff T coming in against our second unit and doing something ridiculous, or Pat Connaughton. I'm more worried about that because we know what to expect from Giannis and Middleton, and I know for damn sure Jay Crowder, Ayton, Mikal Bridges they're going to have their focus for playing against guys like that. We always lose to a Bryn Forbes who has 25 points, shooting damn near perfect. It's players like that I'm worried about. But coupling with what happened tonight, where we are, I think this honestly this loss proves how important that this road trip is for the Suns, that they were just looking past them and looking ahead. They're looking ahead for a reason because there's good games. I think in a way that, bodes well, as opposed to us winning by 40, getting our hopes all up. We're just going to run through this and then losing by 40 the first game. So it's all mental, it's all mindset. But I think we're going to do good. Gabe, you're back with us. So what do you think the Bucks game is going to look like for the Suns?
I think we get a dub. I think we get a dub because one of the things that's like a Bridges law is we always come out hair on fire after a loss.
It's true.
It's just one of those things I've noticed about our team. It's like a constant. I would be more shocked if we don't come out and play amazing than I was shocked that we lost to the Spurs tonight. So, dub. And we always play the Bucks well. We play the Bucks well and we play the 76ers well.
We play the Bucks well even when we sucked.
Dragon Bender had like 4 blocks in one game on Giannis.
Facts.
It made no sense. And he did so good against them that they signed him after we let him go.
Was that that wasn't the game Aaron Baines went off? It wasn't against Milwaukee, was it? Am I tripping?
I think that was a separate year.
But but was it against the Bucks too? You guys in the Twitter, the game where Aaron Baines had like 17 threes. Who was that against? I might be tripping. So, okay, what do you think of our next game then against Philly? Are we going to have Romp 2.0 on?
He's going on with Suns Geek, but he said that after he's done with Suns Geek, he can come on ours.
He owes us, man. What a loser.
You hear that, Romp?
I hope you're still in here.
Don't ever cross coach.
The Sixers worry me for you guys more of every team in the East. I think
we got Devin Booker against Ben Simmons, man.
He lives in his head.
lives in his head. It's all about Kendall Jenner with that matchup,
He
man.
stole his girl.
Yep.
And they play them lights out, dude.
He comes out on fire. That's one I'm actually really looking forward to.
I would say of the last 10, we've probably won 8 versus the Sixers. Right?
Who was out the last game? Was it Embiid? The last time
No,
you guys
they
played
both
him?
played. No, they all
They both
played.
played.
They had a full roster,
We were
man.
missing
Danny
somebody.
Green,
Thought we were talking
everybody.
about that.
No, they played, and Book went off, and that game's on NBA TV. Milwaukee's not national, but
They said it was versus the Blazers. Shervin's saying it was versus the Blazers.
I remember that now. Yep, that's correct.
Prime
And
Dirk
then,
Nowitzki.
and then the problem with our road trip is that we play Boston the very next night after Philly, man. We got to go Philly, Boston. That's tough.
I feel like Boston's garbage this year.
I
think if
completely
they
agree.
If they weren't in the East, they wouldn't be above 500, in my opinion.
But if
watching
we
them
go
play.
off and we beat Philly, you know,
Yeah.
Boston's a letdown game, right?
Yep.
Or
I'm
you're
just
looking ahead.
I didn't think we were going to get through that 1-2 punch of them last time.
Philly?
Remember last time we went through and played the Bucks and Philly, like kind of almost close to together?
Yeah, we played them not on a back-to-back, but they were the two teams we played against each other.
Yeah, we handled them. You know,
Beat
I
Milwaukee
guess.
by 1.
Yeah, it's going to be a good game. But I think we can get the win.
Yeah, that was the
Have you guys
game.
watched
Giannis
this?
had 47.
Have you guys watched many Celtics games this year?
I've seen some.
I've seen a few too, yes.
I feel like this year Tatum decided he was going to be Harden, Luka, Lillard, all these, like, so early in the shot clock. He does this horrible slow motion step back 3, and he'll like waste 3 or 4 possessions, and then it's like all of a sudden he's like, okay, I can't keep doing that. He'll start driving. He'll get the little inside turnarounds. He'll get to the hole. He'll get to the line, and he starts getting to where, you know, he's looking like, okay, he's out of that and ready to go. Then he goes right back to taking these horrible early possession threes.
Yeah.
And it's like, he did it one night. I can't remember who they were playing. I was watching, and Brown had, I think, 8 of the first 11. Brown had like almost 20 points in the first quarter. And he's still, like, in the middle of him having the hot hand and actually getting to the bucket, hitting shots, you know, open shots, moving the ball. He would just, in the middle of that, kill a drive or two with these horrible step backs. And then, you know, after 3 or 4 misses, he'd finally start getting back into swinging the ball around and getting little openings and creating closer shots and getting to the bucket. But every game, I feel like he does that. It's just, it's so frustrating.
I feel like Tatum's hype is so much because he plays for Boston.
Sure,
Well,
that's fair.
Like,
his first like year or two, the way he progressed, you know, as a rookie, his second year and on, it looked like he was like going to just keep going, like he was going to be an elite player in the league. And then I don't know.
What if he played for like the Pistons? You know, like I don't think anybody would talk about him. It reminds me a lot of Brandon Ingram. When Brandon Ingram was with the Lakers, you would have thought Brandon Ingram was one of the top 5 players, up and coming players in the NBA. They wouldn't stop talking about Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram this, Brandon Ingram that. Take Tatum off of that big market team. I just don't know how much play he gets, man. I really don't know.
I think it's some of that, but I think, to your point with if he was with the Pistons, if he got added to the Pistons when they had a similar roster that Boston had, the cap space, remember they had all those picks and they could trade and move, and that's how they ended up getting all those big contracts and things like that. And then he was actually balling out like he was. I mean, you're going to draw attention. I mean, there's small market teams that get that, you know, with players that.
Who would you rather have if you could have one of those two, Booker or Tatum for the Spurs?
Ooh,
Come on, dude. That's not even close.
I don't know. I don't know what you think.
Do you think that Jason Tatum, in average basketball fan mindsets, is like a top 20 top 10 player, top 15?
absolutely.
Top 20,
People think that. People will say Tatum over Booker all day long.
There,
Absolutely, people say
those
that.
those people don't watch a lot of basketball then because it's not even close.
But Jason Tatum has done it in the playoffs. Book has not.
Yeah, but Jason Tatum's had some deep teams.
Yep.
Who would you
Yeah,
rather
Book
take
has
for your
not.
team? And don't worry about fit, just like you're starting the Spurs over and you can draft and these two players are up. Book or Zion?
Book.
Because Salty says Zion.
No,
Coach?
I wouldn't.
You threw Luka in there, and I picked Luka. We all had a different player.
Luka, Zion, or Book?
I'd take Luka.
Bitch.
I would have been. I feel like Booker all around's a little bit. I don't know, man. I feel like they're real close now. I feel like Luka's not even close to being done, being the player he's going to end up being. I don't feel like Booker's done, but I feel like he's closer to being done than Luka is. And I mean, when I say done, I mean reaching their prime.
Their potential, yeah, like their ceiling.
Yeah, I could be wrong. You know what I mean?
Some people on the chat think Jaylen Brown's better than Tatum. I don't know if that's accurate. I love Jaylen Brown.
I would take Jaylen Brown over Jason Tatum.
I coached against Jaylen Brown when he was in high school, so the Jaylen Brown is legit.
Burner says Luka, Zion, or LaMelo.
Luka.
Everyone's taking LaMelo. Shut up. That's not even a question. LaMelo all the way. Then I'm trading for Lonzo, and LiAngelo's going to be on my bench.
Then you get LiAngelo, and then you never lost.
Roy would take Dwayne Bacon.
Roy wants Dwayne Bacon so bad.
Oh, we all want a little bit of Dwayne's bacon.
All right, man. Get us out of here, Coach.
I don't know, man. At Coach Evan B on Twitter. Follow me.
Tell us about the next game.
Hey, here's a fun story real quick since we're playing the Bucks. Me and my wife and my son and a couple friends and their kid went for a quick hike, and then we stopped off at the park afterwards, go down some slides like a boss, like a 2.5-year-old does, and I'm sitting there and chatting with another couple there, and the couple, the lady, is Sam Merrill's sister. Because, Utah, which is close to Bountiful High School, Sam Merrill played for Utah State here. He was actually pretty damn good last couple of years, and he doesn't really play, but he's a rookie this year on the Bucks. And so I was talking to them a little bit about, life in the NBA or being a sister of the NBA. So fun fact, that was kind of cool today.
Maybe you can get some tickets next time they're in town.
I don't want tickets to a Jazz game.
Good point. So we got Milwaukee on Monday. Get to rest our weary legs and our weary eyes from that train wreck we watched tonight. Then we're gonna go up against the Greek Freak, man. All three of us. What do you think? Outside looking in, Gary, who wins that game?
Which one?
From a betting perspective, Phoenix and Milwaukee.
He said Phoenix.
Okay. Maybe we'll have to get Salty to comment what his is for the game, what his impression is going to be. So, anyways, Suns lose a terrible, ugly,
hold on,
bad game.
I just realized we have 2 back-to-backs on this road trip: Monday and then Wednesday, Thursday, and then we have 2 days off, and then we play Brooklyn, New York, Sunday and Monday. We have 2 back-to-backs on a 5-game road stretch.
Guys, if you haven't seen our video talking about the 7 games away stand that we're going on, please watch it. It's never been more relevant than now because we're coming up on it. That's what makes it so bad, bro. It's not just 7 games on the road. It's 4 out of those 7 are back-to-backs versus tough teams. So this is going to be basically a dry run for the playoffs.
Yeah. This is what, when I was talking to you, I was like a week or 2 ago, like this is what you need, man. Like some of the bigger teams that you've played previously in the season were missing people, some weren't obviously, but I mean, you start stacking up some solid, fully healthy or close to fully healthy teams or whatever, you really be able to gauge. Like, I think you guys will be fine, but I think it'll tell a lot more than, playing Houston and us and Sacramento and teams like that, and then playing Lakers without AD and LeBron and stuff like that. But I don't know. I think it'll reveal a little bit more and give a little bit of a different perspective, at least to me, on the makeup of the Suns going into the playoffs.
I completely agree. I will be more disheartened if we lose by 20 to Milwaukee than we are tonight.
Big time.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be ugly.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Suns lose. We suck again. But we'll rise again. We'll rise again on Monday versus the Bucks. See you guys.
Go Suns.
Let's get ready to rumble. Barkley 24. Yeah.
The chumps are here. Chumps are here. Chumps are here.
2.5. Book on the crossover. Gets inside and hammers it down.